So for homework 29, we are talking about the vertex form, and I've written the vertex form here for you. F of x equals a times the quantity x plus or minus h, and that quantity squared plus or minus k. Well, the first thing that you're asked on Math Excel is to find the vertex of a given equation. And so my given equation, 4 is my A, x of course is x, 5 is the h, and there's nothing out at the end of the parenthesis, that's my k. So the vertex is actually found by taking h, k. So the vertex for mine is, and I have to take the opposite of what's in the parentheses, so -5, and then there is no number outside of my parentheses. So my vertex is -50. So that is what I would put in the blank for my vertex. So then the second thing that is asked is the axis of symmetry. So the axis of symmetry is always the x of the vertex, or in this case, it's the h of the vertex. So my axis of symmetry would be x equals -5. And then on the third part, they ask you to choose the graph. So you could put into the Desmos, you could put f of x equals 4 times quantity x plus 5 squared. But there are a few things you could tell about that equation without even having to graph it. One, I know that it opens up because I have a +4. So opens up because it's a +4. And I know that my vertex is the -50. So you could eliminate 2 of your options before you even graphed it. So problem number 2, I had f of x equals parenthesis x minus 1/2 parenthesis squared minus 1. So if I'm going to find my vertex, that is my h value, that negative 1/2. But remember, I changed that, so it's positive 1/2. And then the k is the number that's out here at the end, and I don't change that sign, so it's just positive 1/2, -1. And then the axis of symmetry is always x equals, which I think is already in, oh no, this time you have to type in the x equals, and it would be positive 1/2. And then without even graphing it, again, there are some things that you could notice. There is no number in front of the parentheses, so that actually means it opens up because there's no negative and there's no number. So it opens up, and you know the vertex is positive 1/2, -1, so you could eliminate 2 of the choices. Okay, so number 3 gives you some pieces of information. Like mine says, write the function whose graph has the shape of f of x equals 2x squared and has a vertex of 3, 5. So I'm going to use that pink vertex formula up there to help me write this. So I know I'm going to have f of x equals, and the 2 would go first because the 2 indicates that that's a skinny shape or a narrow shape. And then since it's vertex form, I need parenthesis and then the X. And then my vertex was +3, +5. So this would be -3, parenthesis, squared. And then my K is +5. So this is what would be entered on the answer blank and into MathExcel. And I think f of x is already in MathExcel, so you would probably just have to start with the 2. But again, the 2 is the shape, and the -3 comes from that +3 on the vertex and the +5. Okay, number 4 asked me to write the function whose graph has the shape of the graph f of x equals -4x squared and has a vertex of -2/5, -5, or negative square root of 5. So again, I'm going to put it in the format of that pink. So I've got f of x equals, and then my shape. So the negative indicates this would be a graph opening downward. The 4 indicates that it would be a skinny graph. And then I have my parenthesis x. And then the -2/5 would have to be a +2/5 because remember, those are the opposite. And then squared. And then my K is negative square root of 5. Okay, so number 5, you are given a graph and you are asked to write a quadratic function to model the graph. So since we're talking about vertex form, we want it to be in the form of f of x equals a plus minus h plus minus k. So again, I am going to take f of x equals, and my a is just going to be just a 1. So I've got parenthesis, and then I've got x, and here is my vertex. It's +4, -2, so that means that this would be -4, and that quantity would be squared, and then the k is +2. So the answer that I would put in MathExcel or on my blank, because all that I was given was the vertex, so that's all that I can put into my equation. Okay, on number 6, you are asked to determine the quadratic function of the form we've been using, whose graph is given on the right. Okay, so this time it's not quite as easy because we don't know the letter A. So as we have our formula, let me move that over. Okay, so here is our vertex form, and since we don't know the A, we are going to be using our vertex, which is 2, 4, and we have another point that is 0, -16. So we're going to be using those 2 points and doing some substituting. So this f of x, another way to write y. So as I look at my point here, I've got xy. I'm going to put -16 in equals a, parenthesis, and then the x of that is 0. And then up here was my vertex, so that's -2 squared, and then I had a plus 4. And then I'm going to solve that pink equation for a. So I'm going to simplify here, negative 16, and this is a negative 2 squared plus 4. Well, negative 2 squared would be 4. So now I have 4a plus 4. And I'll subtract 4 on both sides. And then I'm going to have to finish it up here. So now I have the negative 16 and the negative 4 gives me negative 20 equals 4a, because I got rid of that 4 minus 4. Divide by 4, divide by 4. So now my a is negative 5. And so because I was able to find that negative 5, and I know our vertex, I'm able to write my equation. So let's see, I will try to write it. Let's see if I can fit it right in here. So here's my f of x equals, and then I had a was negative 5, x, and then minus 2, and that quantity squared, and then my plus 4. So this, I had to do all of that work to find my equation of that graph. So now we're going to do the same thing on number 7 that we did on number 6, except we don't have a picture of the graph. We just have the actual points. So again, and this time I'll use a y. I'm going to use my vertex form, and I'm going to substitute in where I need to substitute. So again, my vertex, this is HK, and this is X, and that is Y. So the Y, let me change colors here. So the Y is positive 2, nope, negative 2 equals the A we don't know. The X is positive 2. The H would have to be, negative 1 squared, and then the K is positive 1. So now I'm going to keep going on this. So now the 2 minus 1 is 1 squared plus 1. So I've got negative 2 equals 1a, because 1 squared is 1, plus 1. Then I'll subtract 1 on both sides of the equal sign, and I have negative 3 equals a. So now that I have this piece of information and this piece of information, I can write my equation. F of x equals, my a is negative 3, x minus 1, that quantity is squared, plus 1. And that is my equation. Okay, number 8 is just like number 7. So my h is 0, my k is 4, x is 1, y is negative 1. So again, my formula was y equals a x plus or minus h squared plus or minus k. And we put that because we don't always know what they're going to be. So the y is negative 1. We don't know the a. The h is 0, which is really neither positive or negative. And then the k is plus 4. So negative 1 equals, oh, I should have put something in for that x. Let me erase that. Okay, that should have been a 1. Sorry about that. So A times 1 squared plus 4. So negative 1 equals A plus 4. Then I'm going to subtract 4 on both sides. So I have negative 5 equals A. So once I have this piece of information and this piece of information, I can write my equation. So f of x equals, okay, that was negative 5. And because that h is a 0, well, we'll go ahead and write it and then we can change it. So x minus or plus 0, it doesn't matter. And then plus 4. Oh, I ran out of room. Okay. Not sure where I left off because I may have hit the wrong button. But we found the negative 5. And then I put the negative 5 in for A, the 0 in for H, the 4 in for K. And then we generally don't leave that 0 in the H spot or the K spot. So this is the simplified version that we would like to see. F of x equals negative 5x squared plus 4. On number 9, you are given another graph, and you are to write the equation. And again, we don't know A. So remember, this is the H, that is the K, this is my X, this is my Y. So Y was positive 2. I don't know the A. X was positive 2. And the H will have to be negative 6 squared. And then minus 2. And so we simplify. And 2 minus 6 would be negative 4. So then negative 4 squared would be 16a minus 2. We need to add 2 to both sides. 4 equals 16a. And make sure you write all this down because the answer is not 4. The answer actually ends up being a equals 1/4. And remember, that's okay because the 1/4, remember, makes the graph wide. So I've got this piece of information and this piece of information. So now f of x equals, and the a was 1/4, parenthesis, x, and my h has to be negative 6 squared minus 2. And so there is my new equation.